The question of what is next for Sri Lanka is on everybody's mind. What now? Where will it go from here? How will they come out of this economic crisis, and what will their government look like? Well, the 5th century theologian St. Augustine might have a perspective that can help us. When St. Augustine wrote The City of God, he wrote it at a time when the empire of Rome was collapsing. This event had shocked the known world at its time because Rome was the greatest empire the world had ever seen. The peak of its political and military power lasted for more than 400 years, and it was unthinkable that such an empire could ever fall. But it did. And in his book, Augustine states that it is not surprising that Rome is falling, because human nations at the end of the day are built on human frailty. It is built on a human need for security, for power, for pleasure, and for control. And so, however strong it might look on the outset, there will always be fractures from within that ultimately lead to large-scale collapses. And time after time, nation after nation, we find these words to be true. And Augustine in his book is not trying to build a sound political philosophy so that no nation would ever go through its share of difficulties. The crisis, he states, will always be inevitable. His solution is for individuals to ground themselves on a foundation that is eternal. It is not to escape the crisis, but to root ourselves on a foundation that is built to last, a foundation that lies outside of the transient catastrophes. For Augustine, he finds that answer in Jesus Christ, the one who built his empire on love and sacrifice. All those who give their hearts to him find their security on an eternal foundation which cannot collapse because it is not built on human frailties. It is built on God's love. And in doing this, they would be of the greatest service to a nation in the time of crisis because they are able to find that deep inner strength and security outside of the temporary chaos that is happening around them. They have not fallen because the political ground below them caved in, because that's not where they stood in the first place. And so Sri Lanka will continue to be in our prayers because as a limited citizen of a neighboring nation, that is the best we can do at this time. We pray that order be restored and that they are able to find a stable government that is capable of leading the nation outside of this crisis. But it's also a helpful reminder to all of us that no nation, however strong it might look temporarily, is beyond the catastrophe. And it calls us in all humility to aid our neighboring nation because we will also one day find ourselves in our own inevitable crisis.